Here we are. Here we are again. Here we are again. Welcome back to another edition of Reading Rewards the Reader, where today we are taking a look at Job, the book of Job in the Bible, chapters 14 through 16. And we are getting into kind of the middle section of Job here. If you remember, it opened up with kind of a prologue, right? A prologue. The epilogue's at the end, and it will wrap up with one of those. But there was a prologue, kind of set the stage. Some terrible things happened to this guy named Job in the story, and now we find ourselves in the middle of this section of really Hebrew poetry. Is what it is, and it's Job and his friends going back and forth talking about the nature of God, the nature of how God interacts with humanity, whether God does acts justly, I guess you could say, or he doesn't. And so Job's friends are kind of making some assumptions with Job and saying, hey, some terrible stuff happened to you, but you're a good guy, so you must have done something wrong and not known about it. And Job is saying, no, that's not the fact, because I didn't do anything wrong, yet God did something to me, right? Did something terrible to me. So that can't be it. So the friends are kind of stuck in this viewpoint of, if something bad happens to you, it's because you did something wrong in life to deserve it. And Job is kind of taking the attack that, he knows he hasn't done something wrong, but bad things have happened. So how is that justice, and how is God really ruling the earth with justice, if that's the case? And they all kind of agree that God rules with justice, but they're not quite sure how to apply that in Job's case. So they're getting into it, kind of going back and forth with some stuff. I like this section coming up. Job's going to get a little frustrated with his friends, and it's going to be a little interesting. So last time I said something that I was thinking a little bit more about, and I made the comment of some of the arguments that the friends were making and the lens that they were viewing the world through. And the more I thought about it, the more I kind of realized that, this is a story that I think sets up these friends as viewpoints to knock them down and to say that these are not accurate viewpoints, right? And so I think I would be careful for any of us to take these viewpoints and kind of apply them too judiciously into our situations, because you could probably think of situations in real life where things happen, and it's not because anyone necessarily did something wrong, it's just something that happened. And that's exactly what Job's dealing with here. That's exactly what he's dealing with. And so his friends come at it from a certain angle that I'm not sure is the right way to think about it, but hopefully we'll get some clarity and understand things a little better as we read. So without anything else to say, let's jump in. This is Job chapter 14. So Job continues talking. Man who is born of a woman is few of days and full of trouble. He comes out like a flower and withers. He flees like a shadow and continues not. And do you open your eyes on such a one and bring me into judgment with you? Who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean? There is not one. Since his days are determined, and the number of his months is with you, and you have appointed his limits that he cannot pass, look away from him and leave him alone, that he may enjoy, like a hired hand, his day. For there is hope for a tree, if it be cut down, that it will sprout again, and that its shoots will not cease. Though its root grow old in the earth, and its stump die in the soil, yet at the scent of water it will bud, and put out branches like a young plant. But a man dies and is laid low. Man breathes his last, and where is he? As waters fail from a lake, and a river wastes away and dries up, so a man lies down and rises not again. Till the heavens are no more, he will not wake or be roused out of his sleep. Oh, that you would hide me in Sheol, that you would conceal me until your wrath be past, that you would appoint me a set time and remember me. If a man dies, shall he live again? All the days of my service I would wait till my renewal should come. You would call and I would answer you, for you would long for the work of your hands. For then you would number my steps. You would not keep watch over my sin. My transgression would be sealed up in a bag, and you would cover it over my iniquity. But the mountains fall and crumbles away, and the rock is removed from its place. The waters wear away the stones, the torrents wash away the soil of the earth, so you destroy the hope of man. You prevail forever against him, and he passes. You change his countenance and send him away. His sons come to honor, and he does not know it. They are brought low, and he perceives it not. He feels only the pain of his own body, and he mourns only for himself. Then Eliphaz the Temanite answers Job and says, "Should a wise man answer with windy knowledge and fill his belly with the east wind? Should he argue in unprofitable talk or in words with which he can do no good? But you are doing away with the fear of God and hindering meditation before God." So he's starting an argument. He's saying, you're just full of hot air, basically. "For your iniquity teaches your mouth, and you choose the tongue of the crafty. Your own mouth condemns you, and not I, and your own lips testify against you. Are you the first man who was born, or were you brought forth before the hills? Have you listened in the counsel of God, and do you limit wisdom to yourself? What do you know that we do not know? What do you understand that is not clear to us? Both the gray-haired and the aged are among us, older than your father. Are the comforts of God too small for you, or the word that deals gently with you? Why does your heart carry you away, and why do your eyes flash, that you turn your spirit against God and bring such words out of your mouth? What is man that he can be pure? Or he who is born of a woman that he can be righteous? Behold, God puts no trust in his holy ones, and heavens are not pure in his sight. How much less one who is abominable and corrupt, a man who drinks injustice like water?" So again, he's just keeping up that same line of attack that Job, you just aren't actually righteous. And that's hard for us, because we saw from the very beginning that even God said that Job is righteous, right? So this attack is not factual to us, the reader. Yet he's making it to Job, and he's saying, "Job, there's got to be something that you've done that causes this." And then also he's leveling the claim that you don't know more than us. We're making these very robust theological arguments to you. You're disagreeing with us, but come on, you're not smarter than us. We're presenting the very best that, the knowledge of God that we have to offer you. What do you know that we don't? Let's continue. "I will show you, hear me, and what I have seen I will declare. What wise men have told without hiding it from their fathers, to whom alone the land was given, and no stranger passed among them. The wicked man writhes in pain all his days, through all the years that are laid up for the ruthless. Dreadful sounds are in his ears. In prosperity the destroyer will come upon him. He does not believe that he will return out of darkness, and he is marked for the sword. He wanders abroad for bread, saying, 'Where is it?' He knows that a day of darkness is ready at his hand. Distress and anguish terrify him. They prevail against him like a king ready for battle, because he has stretched out his hand against God and defies the Almighty, running stubbornly against him with a thickly bossed shield, because he has covered his face with his fat and gathered fat upon his waist, and has lived in desolate cities, in houses that none should inhabit, which were ready to become heaps of ruins. He will not be rich, and his wealth will not endure, nor will his possessions spread over the earth. He will not depart from darkness, the flame will dry up his shoots, and by the breath of his mouth he will depart. Let him not trust in emptiness, deceiving himself, for emptiness will be his payment. It will be paid in full before his time, and his branch will not be green. He will shake off his unripe grape like the vine, and cast off his blossom like the olive tree. For the company of the godless is barren, and fire consumes the tents of bribery. They conceive trouble and give birth to evil, and their womb prepares deceit." Then Job answered and said, "I have heard many such things. Miserable comforters are you all. Shall windy words have an end? Or what provokes you that you answer? I also could speak as you do, if you were in my place. I could join words together against you and shake my head at you. I could strengthen you with my mouth, and the solace of my lips would assuage your pain." So what he's doing right here is complaining about his friends. And basically he's saying, you think of Job like he's on this emotional roller coaster through this whole thing, because he is dealing with the worst pain that life has to offer him. And his friends sit down, and within just a couple paragraphs, they start like arguing with him, right? And arguing with him and berating him. "Surely now God has worn me out. He has made desolate all my company, and he has shriveled me up, which is a witness against me, and my leanness has risen up against me. It testifies to my face. He has torn me in his wrath and hated me. He has gnashed his teeth at me. My adversary sharpens his eyes against me. Men have gaped at me with their mouth. They have struck me insolently on the cheek. They mass themselves together against me. God gives me up to the ungodly and casts me into the hands of the wicked. I was at ease, and he broke me apart. He seized me by the neck and dashed me to pieces. He set me up as his target. His archers surround me. He slashes open my kidneys and does not spare. He pours out my gall on the ground. He breaks me with breach upon breach. He runs upon me like a warrior. I have sewed sackcloth upon my skin. Okay, so sorry, let's pause there. So up till 14, talking about basically giving this nice poetic imagery to what is happening to him. And then we go on to 15, right? And he describes his condition. I have sewed my sackcloth upon my skin and have laid my strength in the dust. My face is red with weeping. On my eyelids is deep darkness. Although there is no violence in my hands and my prayer is pure. O earth, cover not my blood and let my cry find no resting place. Even now, behold, my witness is in heaven, and he who testifies for me is on high. My friends scorn me. My eye pours out tears to God, that he would argue the case of a man with God, as a son of man does with his neighbor. For when a few years have come, I shall go the way from which I shall not return. Okay, pretty hopeless stuff from Job. Not a big fan of how his friends are treating him at this point. And unfortunately, I suspect this is going to continue a little while longer for Job before we get to the next section. So I think the key themes in here are just these friends keep hitting him with these arguments that are on their face seem like good, like common sense stuff, but don't really apply to Job. And Job knows it. Job is maintaining his innocence, but he also knows he's struggling in his mind because he also agrees with his friends. I think they all agree that God operates with justice in the world. His friends take the tack that because God operates with justice, Job must have done something to deserve what this terrible stuff that has happened to him. Job is struggling with the same problem, but he knows that he hasn't done anything to deserve what happened to him. So he's trying to figure out another way, and in that trying to figure out why and trying to figure out, exactly what's going on in this situation, he is asking God to end his days, right? To basically kill him. He's asking God, why are you doing this? You are basically like treating me very poorly. You're attacking me. You're setting up your archers against me was one of the phrases. So really nice imagery and poetic language in these sections. And so we'll continue to see it as we go through it. I hope this has been profitable for you.